How's it going, everyone? Jay Falconio with REMCO Real Talk here, and we are with a good friend of mine, Gunnar Bolf, also known as, or originally known as, let's say originally, the Levittown Loner.
What's going on, man?
Gunnar, so thanks so much for coming in.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you making the time. I know you're a busy guy, running around.
Hey, man, I like having fun. This is fun, you know?
Closing deals. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that fun. You just got done a trip, right?
Oh, yeah. So I qualified for, it's called President's Club.
Nice.
You know, in sales, it's like I call it like the golden handcuffs. You know what I mean? They're like, one day you can qualify for this. One day. And anyway, got a work trip. It was really cool. Got to meet a lot of different interesting people from all over the country. That's what's cool when you work for like a big company. Like we're a small branch, like in the local area. However, you know, the top 5 lender in the country or whatever. So like it's neat to meet people from Nebraska, Texas, California, etc. So that's why like these vacations and like these President's Club packages are neat.
President's Club, it's so prestigious. I love that, the golden handcuffs. It's like get into the kingdom of loans.
Yeah. Well, like golden handcuffs meaning like, hey, you know, we're pretty cool over here, you know, stay here, you know.
So I know on the insurance side they do that too. A lot of the captives, they'll do that. They'll top 5 agents at each state.
That makes sense.
On the independent side, being, you know, we're an independent brokerage and we represent all these big captive companies, or we represent these larger companies. We find ourselves having to motivate our own sales team from within, and it's not as close. It's not even as luxurious as
yeah.
So tell us, how did you qualify for that? Tell us a little background on how that trip came to be.
Yeah, sure. So it's like a certain threshold of sales. So like it's really a weird industry in the sense that like income and the sales is just so like transparent, just because it's just like the maths. You know what I mean? But anyway, so it's 30 million in production. Or 84 purchases. In this market, it's pretty tough.
That's
just because there's just like for every house, there's 50 buyers. So like it was definitely a rough year. And but anyway, I made it. I was really happy about that.
And you've navigated the waters of the loan. It's just the housing market, LOs, real estate. I mean, I've known so many people who got into it when I got into insurance about 5 years ago, and I could tell you over 75% of them aren't doing loans anymore or aren't real estate agents anymore. So why don't you shed a little light on like that experience of, you know, making it through the trials and tribulations that are of LO?
Yeah, sure. So I'll kind of run you through everything from the beginning. I've tried everything. Like I had an independent insurance shop for like a year.
Oh, really?
I had my real estate license. I went to law school, graduated. I've technically been a mortgage lender for 10 years now, but I didn't really actually stick to it full time until like probably the past like 4 years or so.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And I tried everything, man.
Yeah, insurance agent too, really?
Yeah, I did that.
No way.
Yeah, I had no experience, and I zero experience. I had no idea how to sell insurance, didn't know anything. Got the license. I got the whatever it's called, P&L. PNC, that's it.
Yeah.
PNC and life and health. Ended up selling 0 life and health. Just only did basically car insurance with Progressive. That was pretty much my entire book.
Yeah. Are you still licensed?
No.
All right. Well, we might have to talk off the call then. Get you licensed again and start you up as a sub for us. But so you tried a lot of things.
I tried everything, man. But yeah, I really after I graduated law school, it was during the refi boom, and so like I was able to like wear 2 hats. I was in law school and also producing, and there was just so many leads because rates were so low, and that really launched my career. So like although I've been doing loans for 10 years, I really wasn't successful at it until like 2020. And then like it kind of snowballed from there. But yeah, so like I got like we'll call it like proof of concept from all the refis, and then when it came to a purchase market, that's when it's real hard, man. That's when everyone like falls off. You know what I mean? Because it's easy when if you're selling on 2% rate, it's really easy. You know?
Absolutely.
But then when rates are 7s or even 8s, where they were like last, you know, for a very brief time. But anyway, when rates get higher, it's tough, and it's purchases, so you have to figure out how to like carve your own little lane in it. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question
No,
correctly.
Absolutely. I would say like when you started too, you really heavily focused on your hometown, my hometown, right? Bucks County guy, born and raised. You know, you went by that name, Levittown Loner. I know people knew you. I saw people with your shirts on at the gym. I know that you have a big, a big focus on health and wellness, jiu-jitsu. Like you really built a brand around your name or that name.
Thank you, man.
So, you know, when times were good and you started in that market, you know, did you find yourself just really just developing and continuing to develop relationships at home that just allowed you to catapult your career?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Like, I'll work with anyone happily. You know
Yeah,
what I
for
mean?
sure.
But sometimes when we work with friends, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
But then other times it's like, hey, I almost want to work with only strangers. You know what I mean? Just because
Yeah.
like you don't want to ever upset a friend. Things go wrong
I get
occasionally.
that. I get that.
So like it's like a hybrid to it. But definitely like just having friends supporting me was the biggest thing ever. You know what I mean? So like working in your local market,
Yeah.
that definitely worked.
And I
out
could
for
tell
me.
too, like as you were climbing the ranks, I mean, the faces were different, but a lot of the buddies that I grew up with, I
Yeah.
knew. Clearly, you knew our hometown. It was almost like you were just following them as they
Yeah.
aged, right? Okay, we
Yeah,
just
yeah.
graduated college. We got a little money. We got a good job now. We're looking for
Game
a
time,
home.
baby.
Boom.
Let's
And
buy
then
a
it's like
house.
Gunner's in a picture with these two guys this guy and this girl that I know are
That's
two
funny.
people. So
Yeah, and I appreciate it immensely, and it's so much fun when it's like people you grew up with, and you get to
Yeah.
defeat through the stages with them.
Yeah.
Like they're like, yeah, Gun, we're trying to have a kid. Hey,
But
Gun, we're getting married. You know,
amen on that. I mean, look, I'll sell insurance. We'll sell insurance to anybody.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. I think now that 5 years in, a lot of people know me as the insurance guy at the party, which now I'm old. It's like, hey, it's like, yeah, that's not Jay from Penn State. That's Jay from REMCO Insurance.
That's
He's
so
the insurance
funny.
guy.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
to that point, I'm never going to say no to a friend. And
Yeah,
I think
of
you
course.
always have like this voice inside saying that you're always going to go above and beyond for the ones that,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
but then they give you the best feedback too, right?
That's true. Yeah.
I get gnawed at by some friends being like, hey, like, this took a little longer than I thought, or this person over in the office did things this way. And then I'm like, like I love the transparency and the honesty because usually they're delivering some of this feedback like after hours or over a beer or something.
Yeah.
But I value that as well.
But so I guess one thing I wanted to focus on that statement is that it's like it helped me launch my career and it's awesome, but then like you kind of almost run out of friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how I mean, like
you had a
strangers are
ton.
great, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So like you get to a point where you're like, man, I might have ran out of friends. Like, any more friends will buy a house? You want to buy a new house? You know what I mean?
And then your reputation.
That's when you have to start getting more.
And then your reputation speaks for itself, right? Those friends have other friends, and then you get into other networks.
Yeah.
So when we've always cross paths, whether it be in networking groups or just like through mutual friends over your career and my career as well. And I just always, want to make sure that we take the time to touch in because I'm like, I know, the friends that we've shared, they're, for the most part, they were cornerstones in my life. They got me to a certain period and where we're at, and they did the same. So are you still staying close with some of your buddies?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
That's one thing like I also try to work on is that like someone who used to be very vital to my life, or like that might be the wrong word, but either way, someone that used to be important to me. If I haven't talked to them in a while, like I try to reach out to an old friend like once a week. It's so easy, man, with a text.
It is.
Like, hey man, hope everything's great. Love to grab dinner one day, even if you can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just saying that. It's just because I know when like people who I haven't talked to in a while reach out to me. I love it, man. It's warm and fuzzy. It's great.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I do try to work on.
And you're also
I try to be a good friend.
You're allowed. Yeah. You do a great job, and that's what allowed me to reach out to you and make sure we get on the pod because I was living vicariously through your travel stories, and I was like, well, this looks so awesome, and I was like, how's Gunnar been? Let's have him on the pod. Let's
cool,
try.
Man. Yeah, appreciate
so yeah,
it.
this has kind of evolved. This show kind of evolved into ways for me to initially bring our clients on. It was focused to get to know our book of business. We're so transactional every day, where people know you from an email or a signature photo in your email. They never even really got to meet you in person. So we started joining and welcoming some of our clients into the show, and then they started telling some pretty crazy stories about their businesses and their rise to success. And then we opened it up to referral partners and friends.
That's cool.
Just again, so this is an experience. So for anybody listening, anyone who wants to learn more, I mean, we'll provide some details later on. But at this point, I'm going to ask that quintessential question of like, where is the real estate market, loan processing going in 2025, 2026, if you had to guess?
Oh man, truth is, I really have no idea. I think the one thing is like whenever you hear anyone says like this is the time to buy, this is the time to refinance or X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Truth is, man, it's a 50-50 shot. Like, you know what I mean? You can say anything, and truth is, if they're saying they're 100% sure, they're 100% wrong. Like there's no way you know exactly.
Yeah.
Inventory's tough. Rates are still high. We're hoping that they're going to be cut down. We have a 2025 is a weird year, man. I don't have a lot of financial jargon to tell you or anything. I don't really have an answer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what happens, just like everyone else.
Good answer. Good answer. Because I would just nod my head and pretend like I knew what you were talking about. Because no one knows, right? No one knows. I mean,
well, the bond market.
Yeah. All I know is anyone who's got those 2% rates, like myself, we're hanging on to them.
That's
for dear life,
truth.
right?
Yeah,
That's truth, right? We're hanging on.
I myself, I want to move, but like my payment right now, I'm very comfortable with.
Sure.
I'm not comfortable with a payment. Double my payment. You know what I mean?
And that's what makes sense to me. Those the cold hard facts. Those things like that. It doesn't make sense to let go of that rate.
Yeah.
And then I can clearly see how that impacts inventory.
Of course, yeah. They're not selling. They're not going to this next home.
Yeah. So that's right. So we'll wait and see. But look, kudos to just making it through, right?
Yeah.
And then anything's easier than 7-8%, right? So
we can
move in the right direction.
5%. I'm all in, man. It's a healthy market. I'm all in.
That's good.
Low 5s, high 4s. Let's do it, man.
Let's
That'd be great.
Let's get it done. So do you find yourself with the law background, which again, I totally forgot how accomplished you were in so many different avenues. The law background, we're actually going to have a lawyer on in the next episode, but he focuses more on employment law. But I've gotten to know more real estate attorneys through my networking. I mean, do you find that useful in your business?
Truthfully, no.
Okay.
The law degree for me was almost like good for my ego. Like I was like, I wonder if I'm smart enough to graduate law school.
It was a test.
You know what I mean? Like the entry test and was like getting through it. It was brutal. I don't remember anything from school, to be honest with you. There's certain terminology and jargon that I kind of recognize. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I truthfully do not remember much at all. And one thing I realized too is that like while you're doing things, you're like trying different things. Like you think like, well, it's probably good. Like I could be a lawyer and a mortgage. No, you can't. You gotta do one, man. The role is too important. Like you have to be a true expert. You can't be an expert in both. You really can't.
Makes
sense.
What I mean? Makes sense.
Don't get me wrong. There are some people who like are realtors and lenders or like insurance and mortgage. Truthfully, that's just not my style. I want to focus on the one thing I want to be really good at.
I respect that.
So yeah,
be the expert of your craft, right?
Yeah,
and I think there's
so much you need to know.
So true,
and it's changing. So like,
so true.
I can't do both.
And in this day, I hear you. And in this day and age, people want to deal with experts. They want to deal with specialists. They don't want somebody who's a generalist. We tried to get very focused on the insurance side of things in our office, like almost where an agent only deals with certain products.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And people like being able to, go to someone who has all the answers for one particular thing. So that's respectful. Okay, so when did you know that law was just not it? Was it just like one?
Oh man, right away.
Right away, you were just like, oh shit.
Well, no, actually, another COVID story. I went to quit the day before COVID happened. So like, not parentheses COVID. Before it happened is what I'm quoting. Anyway, so like in law school, the first year is the hardest year. I passed the first year. I was so happy. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make it, because like they kick out like the bottom 30% or whatever.
Wow.
And then COVID happened. But the day before, I actually went to quit because I was just so tired of it, man. Yeah. I was like, I was doing the math. Like, and when I mean the math, I mean I was looking at my life. I'm like, I don't really want to be a lawyer. I'm already doing loans. I'd rather just focus on this. I went to quit, but then it went virtual the very next day. So I signed the form and then like just didn't hand it in because it went virtual. And when it went virtual, I was at home. I had two screens. I had a screen for school and I had a screen for loans. And, I wasn't a good student, but I passed. At the time, my ex-girlfriend was like number 5 in the class.
Oh, wow.
So it was very easy for me to just like rely on her notes, basically.
Yeah.
So like I get called on in class. I'd have no idea what I'm talking about. But that's one thing my brain does well is like I can cram. And like, so in law school, it's one test per class, like per semester. And like, I would just memorize everything.
That's
day
incredible.
Before. Not even day before, like I'd devote 48 hours to like memorizing everything. That's how I did it.
How much sleep would you get in those 48 hours?
No, not a lot. Because I was also doing loans too, man.
That's
so,
crazy.
Like, yeah, I was operating on no sleep.
Well, if anything, the work ethic, right? Or like you trying to go after something, even knowing that it wasn't going to be something you were going to do in the future after obtaining the education.
Yeah.
The discipline to just stick it out and grind it out and accomplish.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's funny. It feels like a prior life already.
No,
but,
that's good.
Yeah.
I'll save the law questions for the next episode.
Yeah, let's save it for the lawyer.
Yeah. So, outside of work, health and wellness, I know that that's still a big part of your life. Jiu-jitsu, you still You still fighting? Still sparring?
I still train jiu-jitsu pretty religiously. Dude, in our industry, or maybe just in being American in your 30s in general, it's so hard to not get fat, man. And so like I'm doing jiu-jitsu quite a bit, probably like 4 times a week.
Yep.
But honestly, it's tough because like my joints are just killing me. You know what I mean? I've been doing it for forever, and like it's super fun. Like I love it. It's so much fun. But like it's brutal. Like I got knee surgery and like probably need it on the other leg, and I don't really want to do that. However, it's my favorite hobby, and it definitely keeps me relatively lean. Relatively.
No, it's an incredible
because in our area, not our area, I'm sorry, our field, you know, everyone wants to go to dinner, everyone wants to go to happy hours, everyone wants this, everyone wants that. Like
so true, dude.
And like it's one of the best ways to meet people and talk to people. But like
it's also the best way to get fat.
Yeah, and it's so easy, man. You go to dinner every night and you have drinks. Oh my god, dude.
Game over.
Yeah, it's game over.
So I've had, you know, you have to draw that line too, and I think there's a lot of respect with you know, not including drinks during weekdays and then including the right people. But again, you know, I come from a European background. I know that you're very culturally aware. Like our version of in America of going out and eating and drinking, it's just totally different.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like if we could just stick to, you know, the moderation,
we'd
probably be a lot better off.
No, that's absolutely true.
But again, we're in America and we're in the 30s and we're trying to sell. So
the one thing I noticed about when I travel is that how little liquids everyone else drinks.
That's true.
Like the cups for water everywhere are just way smaller. They're not doing refills, you know what I mean?
There's such thing as big gulps.
No way. And so that's like the biggest takeaway for me, because I'm a hydrated guy, you know what I mean? I'm always drinking water, you know.
I try to always have like the jug. They call it the canteen at the office.
Okay,
it's
that's
like
funny.
a big bottle. I put like lemons and cucumbers in it.
And,
I'm starting to notice now, like it's become a part of my personality, where now my neighbors in my community are like, there goes Jay with that jug again.
That's super funny. That's kind of the same for me. Like one of my girlfriend makes fun of me so much, but also when I was in law school, I always had 3 drinks on me. I'd have Perrier, I'd have coffee, and I'd have a Diet Coke, because I love Diet Coke. You know what I mean?
Got it.
So, you know.
The bubbles. The Perrier is good.
I'm into it, man. Yeah.
So I guess that's when you know you're kind of like making it in life, is when you're out to dinner and they ask you for bottled sparkling or tap.
And you actually know the difference.
I used to say like whatever, Philly's finest, but now I'm like, let me just go with the sparkling.
That's funny. I just like how it tastes. It's great.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I ever had it, I was at like a steakhouse, and my friends took me, and I was younger, and I like liked it so much. I drank like an entire bottle of like, you know, big glass one Pellegrino.
Yeah.
And my stomach was killing me so much, because we went to like one of those steakhouses and I had that, and I remember they wanted to go out after. I'm like, guys, take me home, I'm dying.
You were about to explode with carbonation.
Yeah.
Have you had the Top Chico?
Oh, love that one.
That's my go-to.
Yeah, and then of course, you know what they do, man. They make alcohol versions of it now. So it's like
crazy.
It's tough, dude.
Oh man, it's like thinking back to like when White Claws came out and how like naive we were at that time. That this was the beginning of the end for all things. Because it's like everybody knows, and we have a lot of clients too in the distilling and the bottle making. Some local companies who just like rode that wave.
Oh, that's neat.
And they're doing just such a great job.
Yeah.
To the point where like they're focusing only on that, right? Just coming out with new flavors.
Yeah.
So
finding what the new wave is, hopping on the wave.
Yeah.
I think I find that type of business so interesting and fun. I completely different than what I do, but I like always love seeing new products come out. I'm like, oh, that's a good one. That's a good idea. You know,
and following the trends. I mean, there's a brain for that, right? And I know a few people who have that, where they're almost like 10 years ahead.
Like
to the
our old buddies were into that.
Exactly.
They're good at that stuff.
Exactly. Like they think ahead, and it's crazy because now I look around and like those things that are saturated were things back in 2016, 2015 that were being thought up.
Yeah, exactly. Like keto stuff.
Exactly.
Stuff.
Yeah. And then the gummies, right? You get gummies on everything. Creatine gummies.
Yeah, and the funniest one is, well, creatine gummies are the next wave, or the current wave. But before that, Goalie or whatever, like the apple cider vinegar. So silly, man. Like, what a simple product. You know what I mean?
So silly.
And what they did was they created like a reward system, kind of like President's Club. They said, hey, if you're like a affiliate link sells this much, you get a condo in Miami, you get a Lambo. Yeah. And like that's one of the big, like how they did it. So like their business structures their business more so than like the product. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's apple cider vinegar.
Exactly.
Like,
that's so true. Yeah. And it's
I'm
come
no
out.
scientist, but I don't think it's doing that much.
But they no, it's not. But they know how to incentivize people to push something.
Yeah.
Which is so back to the President's Club. I brought it up briefly. You know, in the insurance space, a lot of young agents, I would say, who are selling the home and auto product.
Yeah.
I'll name Comparion, for example, which is the old Liberty Mutual.
Okay.
They really take care of their agents that sell. So I know some of which on the East Coast, they're going to trips every quarter. They're they're getting all these lovely perks. But I will say that, building a career in one of these firms or one of these larger companies is a lot harder because they're doing this for you, but they're not giving you the renewals that you can see on the independent side.
Okay.
So my question for you is, on the loan processing side, I know you've worked for a couple firms, and then you even went to do it yourself. What is your take on kind of having the backing of a large company to provide the infrastructure, the support, and then also the days when you were kind of doing it on your own? What was that like?
That's a great question. So like I was a broker for 4 years. That basically means I was like a one-man shop. You know what I mean? My biggest gripe with being a broker was I was just bored. Like I'd have a good month and like I'd high five myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just lonely and boring. I really mean that. Like I make less money now and I'm perfectly fine with it.
Okay.
So, but I also work way less, like because I have a great team. So as far as like what makes one company different than the other company, truth is top like 20 companies, they're going to all be the same. You know what I mean? They're all great. It's all about like the support staff you get. Like right now I have two, they have different names for it, but I have two like basically assistants that help me with all my loans. And that's one of the main reasons why I really like this company. You know what I mean? They help me make sure everything gets done on time. So like basically all the companies kind of have the same scaffolding and you kind of build your business on it. The President's Club is a great way to keep us, the golden handcuffs, because you meet everyone and then you like it more. You know what I mean? So it's kind of with a broker, I was lonely and bored because of like, I was like, just me, you know what I mean? But like if you start liking your processor, liking your underwriter, meeting your coworkers, it's just way more fun. You know what I mean? So I've bounced around other companies. Truth is, like, we all sell almost an identical product. So like it's just really where you find the scaffolding that you like.
You bring up a really good question, 100% right on, spot on. So I think you touch on the fact that there could be things that your assistants are doing for you now that basically you just hated doing. Maybe you weren't as organized or on time with things. That's allowing you to be even more hyper efficient on doing
I couldn't do both. And I noticed my personality and how I was intaking new clients was impacted because the job's like tough because there's so many things you got to work on.
A lot of moving parts.
A lot of moving parts, like intaking new people, following up with people, making sure their loans close on time, like all the things in between. Oh, I didn't call that person from last week. Oh my God, I never called so-and-so the lead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you need to have a team to make sure that like all your loans are going to close on time so you can make sure you're providing good service to all the new people.
Of course.
And I noticed when I was a broker doing it by myself, I was kind of like, it wasn't like a very pleasant experience. Like I'd be like, hey, John, what's up, man? All right, dude. So for a mortgage, I need these 3 things. Send it to me right now. See you, bye. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, like that's
super transactional and like super harsh. And then you're coming up with, I'm assuming that at the company you're with right now, there's a lot of proprietary software that's probably super efficient. Or
honestly, I'm very unimpressed with all mortgage software.
Interesting.
Across the board. It's because you know what it is, man. It's like it's all the foundation of all the software for mortgage companies is like archaic.
I feel the same way.
So like it's built upon.
In the insurance industry, we're operating on Windows XP still.
They need to scrap it from the bottom and restart, but none of them do because who knows why. My guess is just because like it's like a huge cargo ship, right? And like you're like, oh, we're going the wrong direction, but it takes forever to turn the wheel because it's such a big ship.
Really
you know
good
what
analogy.
I mean?
Yeah, really
so like
good.
the company's running on it already. So like it's probably just, I mean, I'm not a tech guy, so I don't really know.
But you're spot on.
Bottom line, it sucks.
Yeah, you're spot on, and the change will take. They always promise you, hey, at the end of Q3,
Dude, they do it all
at the end of
time.
Q3, we're gonna have this, and end of Q3 comes along, and they're not even close.
Every company, every software, you name it.
Yeah, and they're expensive.
The
so one we're using in particular, I can't bring it up, but they know.
Yeah.
They've got us too.
Yeah.
We're like caught in this spider web.
Yeah.
So
I don't know the figures because the company covers that stuff, but back when I was a broker, the variance for different software was outstanding, like
Yes.
unbelievable. Yeah.
And you would think if I pay the most that I'm going to get the most, but it's not necessarily that way.
Yeah.
So when you were by yourself, I guess I resonate to that because there's a lot of really good project management softwares out there now. There's a lot of good pipeline management systems, whether you're selling, insurance or, you're doing loans, finding the one that fits for you, but it kind of makes it easier. But again, if to your point, if they're not efficient enough or they're kind of archaic, you got what you got. But technology is just one of those things that, I couldn't live without some of my apps that are free to keep me in line.
So what do you like?
I use Asana.
Okay.
We used it back at the old company with our buddies.
Is it like a CRM?
Asana's basically just a task management system.
Okay, cool.
And I'm waiting for them to call me. I shout them out on here all the time. I'm waiting for them to call me, be like, "Oh, we need you to be in a commercial." But I have brush my teeth on there. So But
I'm a big on that too.
Yeah, so trying to find those. I use Trello a lot, which we used back in the day.
Okay.
But there's Monday, there's Slack, there's Salesforce, which is pretty much plugs into everything. But I guess my point is, find your technology. If you're a small business owner or you're just starting to get involved, find something that allows you to stay more efficient because right now, currently, that's like my thing, keeping me honest.
That's huge.
And
the free stuff, it's like great thing that you mentioned. Like I use Google Calendar.
Oh, yeah.
You can blow it up on your front page of your iPhone. That's what I do. And every task that I have to do, I just make it like an event of the day.
Yep.
And so I know what to do every single day.
Yeah. So
it's free.
That's a cornerstone. Yeah. The other piece of software that I wanted to bring up that I'm glad we're touching on this, we invested in a product called MMI.
Yeah, we have that
You're
too.
familiar with it?
Yeah.
All right. I think it's incredible. I think it's for me, for being on the insurance side, my home and auto agent, Zach, he was like, "Hey, let's look into this."
Yeah.
We ended up subscribing to it, but the amount of information they hit you on.
What's crazy about it too is it's transparency. Like you see people acting like big dogs, and then you see if they're not.
I want one. Exactly. You took the words right. I want one. I want them to create one for insurance.
Yeah.
And I want them to create one for realtors because for you guys, you can't hide.
There's so much egos in real estate.
I'm so happy to exist because, well, for us, so just background for kind of where we're focused on. Zach, he came from the industry and started out doing a ton of fix and flippers, a lot of LOs, a lot of realtors who are doing the wholesale game.
Yeah.
And then he started getting into more of the the long-term buyers and the more sticky products.
Yeah.
Then we started rubbing shoulders with some of the big dogs who are doing so many loans and they don't even write their own loans because they have this team under them.
Yeah.
So we're trying to find that.
Which is crazy. I don't know if people do that, but they do it.
No. Yeah. So we're just trying to be more strategic about who we surround ourselves with and the relationships we have. So we're trying to find that sweet spot, which, you're there, man. You're right in the middle of the pack in terms of the volume and in such a short period of time. Your numbers are incredible.
Thanks, bro.
I guess so. We checked you out, But I want people to be able to check. I want people to be able to check other industries out. And hold them accountable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're spot on. You got people who are, acting like big dogs. Posting and doing all this kind of stuff. And you look it up. It's like, well, you did 4 deals this year.
Well, that's also part of everyone markets in different ways. Some people market like that, and some clients like that. You know what I mean? So
but wouldn't you rather know who?
Yeah.
So I don't know. What's your perspective from being somebody who you can access that information through? You think it's good? You think it's fair?
Oh, that it's
public, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's fair. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's any moral issue with that. No.
Yeah.
No, it's a good tool.
It's a good tool. Yeah. I just found it interesting. Some people kind of operate under a different name too, or like an LOA for a different agent.
Oh yeah.
So that kind of makes it.
That's all compliance stuff and because different companies, it's how you get away with different stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, MMI.
Cool product.
Cool product.
Summary: MMI, what it does is it just shows production for realtors and mortgage lenders, and that's a useful tool for him because he can connect with mortgage lenders, realtors, and for me just to see other realtors that do a lot of buy sides, which is who I want to partner with.
Got it. So, have your realtors changed over the years, or do you feel like you're still pretty close?
Sure.
Okay.
That's the hardest part about the shop. It's you have a good year, but you're 100% commission. It's hey, do it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's oh man,
I know. I'm exhausted.
I want a break, dude. I would love a salary. This is great. So I really like the job. I love the job. I really do. It's definitely super stressful. It's definitely times where I'm man, I don't know how long I can do this for. But as of right now, it's what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And so that kind of answers the realtor thing. Sometimes you have a realtor, like I had a realtor move to Texas and like, I no longer work with them, you know what I
Right.
mean? Or like a realtor who's like, no longer focusing on buy sides, only working on sell sides. So yeah, realtors definitely change. Unfortunately too, sometimes we screw up. And if you screw up, there's 100 other me's out there.
Yeah.
Not 100. There's hundreds of thousands, I'm pretty sure. I don't know numbers. But anyway.
Not any as
so
cool
like,
as you though.
Thanks, dude. But like, we all do the same thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
it's a relationship business.
yeah, whoever has the shiny object right in front of you at the time. So like, you just gotta not take it personal and just keep on keeping on, find new relationships. I also try to focus on not just relying on referrals from realtors. That's like my superpower kinda is that like I grew up, like you said, like in real estate. So like I got really lucky with friends.
Nice.
That's like the backbone of my business is that like I get half my deals from just friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that also speaks to just the character of you as a person, and because realtors are come and go, friends, for generally they're a constant.
Yeah.
So that's great. My next question was like, how do you I guess build up new relationships with new realtors?
I'm so bad at that. I really don't know. Like it's tough because like I don't cold call people.
No.
I'm the worst at that. I wouldn't even know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm just really lucky right now that I have a group that I became friends with. I've been doing it for, even though I haven't been like making money for X amount of years, but I've been in the field one way or the other for a long time.
Yeah.
So luckily I made friends. It's not like you don't have realtors. You have friends, like you just work together.
It's a different story,
yeah. So like I have a lot of friends that are realtors.
So anyone who's thinking about getting into or struggling in their first couple of years with, because again, it's tough to do. Pick up the phone and cold call someone and just be like, you're asking them basically for their business, but they don't even know who you are.
Exactly.
Blindly trust me. Give me business.
It's a snowball though, I would say.
Okay. So for the young, mortgage rep or, even the young realtor out there who wants to try to build genuine connections, if they're not as lucky to have like a Rolodex of great friends like yourself, like what would you suggest for them?
Super tough, man. Like I really am very lucky that it worked out. It's working, I would say, because who knows how long it'll live. Anyway, so like if you're a new LO, I would say probably like working for a team would be a great idea because like you find like a really high producer, you might make a little bit less money at first just because you have to share with the high producer or something of that nature. You work on their overflow, you learn the business, you learn the products in great detail.
Mm-hmm.
I would say work for like a team, try to find it in-house. Like for example, like, if you're in-house in a huge real estate company, obviously, you way more face-to-face exposure with new realtors. Definitely easy to make relationships like that. That's like really, really difficult to find though. You know what I mean? So that's like be one of those situations where you have to like go under someone essentially to share their referral.
But like you said, you're gaining a lot of wisdom and understanding of the industry at that time.
So I guess summary is just like find a good mentor that you can work under.
Okay.
And get it in face to face, like in offices as much as possible.
Makes sense.
People try video. People try other forms. I don't know. It's probably so hard. Like I don't know.
Got it. Well, stick to doing what you're doing. But yeah, I hear you. You have to be uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable with something.
Yeah, for
right.
Sure.
Like you're gonna have to do something outside your comfort zone.
That's 100% true. Like I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
And real estate, I would say like same thing, be in a big office. Big offices have, then you've exposure to all the latest listings. Sometimes people don't want to run certain buyers just because, realtors as they age out, they don't want to run the young first time home buyers because they don't want to drive to Philly every single day. You know what I mean? Work in a big office, big team.
Yeah. The other question that I have for you, in terms of just like, I guess like geographic region, I've noticed so many realtors are so focused on like, hey, I'm focused on the shore. I'm focused on just Cape May. I'm focused on just Wildwood. Then I'm focused on just Philly.
Yeah.
Your theory or your understanding behind that, like, is it?
It depends on what specialized knowledge is required. You know what I mean? So like for me, like I do all loans. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable with all of them because like 80% of it's the same loan to loan, you know what I mean? And I know the 20% that makes one different than the other. So like, beach houses, like, different markets are vastly different. Like in Jersey, for example, like every deal in Jersey is just a completely different experience because like one is where the lawyers do everything. Sometimes the lawyers do nothing. It's like, you know what I mean? So,
Sure.
so I guess specializing in certain areas makes sense. Like, some people are like, hey, I'm the luxury person, but like, I'm sure they're still going to take a $500,000 single family home
100%.
listing. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
So like, I think it's a great way to market sometimes. But I'm sure like when the knowledge is like, hey, like I mentioned, like if you know 80% of it, you know what I mean? It's a great way to market, but I'm sure they'll take all the deals. You know what I mean?
We live in a place, tri-state area around us. We're so close to so many different states, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you bring in license and compliance. Now, the majority of your deals are in PA.
I'm like 60%. Yeah, honestly, no, that's the wrong number. 80% PA, 20% Jersey.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And you started, that 20% is relatively a newer 20%?
Yeah, past like 2 years.
So what does it take, I guess, because I guess 3 years ago, I decided to start crossing bridges every day.
Yeah.
It's not far. I mean, depending on, I'll go as deep as like Mullica Hill every week for some of my networking groups and trying to get down there. My family's down in South Jersey, so I try my best to get down. And there's great accounts down there, like you said. Like, we live in an area where that's doable. But it was definitely a focused push for me to be like, I want to get us into Jersey. And I could say that I'm happy to start seeing more New Jersey accounts. From a license and compliance standpoint on our end, we can, we're licensed in 35 states.
Okay, cool.
We can get licensed in any state.
It's a little more difficult in mortgage world.
I figured that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to pay annual fees, continuing education for every state.
Interesting.
And it's like a pain, you know what I mean? So I have 3. I have PA, Jersey, and Delaware. I went to law school in Delaware, so I've been renewing it for 3 years now. I'm closing my first Delaware deal this week. And Delaware charges you $500 a year to renew it. So I'm gonna break even on this deal.
Oh my gosh!
I'm so excited.
Looking for the next one, right? Like,
yeah.
So is it drastically different? Who did I mention? Delaware was really hard for, I think, selling life insurance. I was talking to a New York life agent. They said it's impossible to sell life insurance in Delaware, and
for mortgages, it's New York. Like New York's impossible to get licensed in.
Yeah. Okay. So would you foresee yourself doing more deals in Delaware, or was this just like, all right,
I went to law school there, and like I definitely maintain relationships with a lot of people who are like our lawyers in Delaware. So I'm gonna keep it for sure.
Cool.
PA, Jersey, Delaware.
Okay. How south Jersey would you go, or have you gone?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter?
Wildwood condos, you know what I mean?
Nice.
I'm not familiar with North Jersey in any capacity, but I'm sure I've done deals North Jersey too. I just don't know.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, cool. Good to know. Yeah, and that's good for me because I have some realtors that I'll lean on specifically for the shore points.
Yeah.
And they're
it's proximity. You know what I mean? If they're close, they're close.
Yeah.
But like as far as specific knowledge, they all generally they have the same skill set. They all know what they need to do.
Interesting. All right. So what's the next move? Like what's your goal? Maybe goal for 2025 for you? Like I mentioned, your statistics are great. I mean, you're really, really developing a name for yourself, and I'm really proud of, like, I guess just knowing you throughout this past 5-6 years and where you're at. So what's the goal for 2025?
So like the natural so my goal is just to do the same I did last year. That's just the same, or like even like a little bit less I'm okay with, just because again, sales is such a grind, and like I'm thrilled if I can do what I did last year. Thrilled.
Okay.
But the progression is a lot of people are like, oh, I want to have people under me, or they just have an astronomical next level of production that they want. I don't have those in my current. I just want to be happy. I just want to be a good. I proposed to my girlfriend.
Nice,
so I want to be a good fiance.
Nice.
I want to have fun. You know what I mean? So I want to do the same production as last year, and I want to have fun.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
And this industry too, it allows you to not only be productive and be compensated well when you produce those numbers, but also have the flexibility, right?
Yeah.
This is a career, and
I
want to
have a life,
industry.
Dude.
I understand. Yeah, we all get that. So, and congrats on the most recent engagement.
Thanks, bro.
Photos from the trip look great. And
thanks, man.
Is there another President's Club trip already identified where it's at?
Not nearly as cool. Like that was the funniest thing ever at the President's Club. Like it's a silly dinner, and at the end they're like, and here's where it is next year, and it was like it's like Arizona, and everyone looks around like. We're just in Hawaii. Why are we in Arizona?
Yeah, next year is in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah, it's like wait a minute.
Yeah, no, that's funny.
Yeah.
So what were some of the highlights of that trip, like in particular?
Cool meeting people that do it in different ways. And just seeing the different personalities. It's just such a funny industry how like a mortgage lender isn't one size fits all. You know what I mean? Like, or it's not like you can't just spot them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's like women in their 60s. There's me. There's ex-football player guy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And like all shapes and sizes, different styles of how they do it. So that was cool. What was your question?
Just like, was there Hawaii? What part of Hawaii was it in?
We were I don't know the terminology.
Kauai.
We were in the Big Island, and then
Okay.
at the end we went to Kauai for like 2 days just to
That's awesome.
go on our little solo
Weather
venture.
was good.
Dude, unbelievable.
Yeah.
I get why people move. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I'm a Bucks County boy, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm staying where I'm at.
Yeah.
But I get it, man. Warm weather's really cool.
You get that itch around here, and I surpassed it. I mean, we have some weather this week that we'll be playing some golf, and
Cool.
the weather's nice enough. But you get that like that seasonal
absolutely,
depression,
man. We're afraid to say depression because like
I didn't want to say it, but I was like, forget it. That's what it is.
dude, I get sad in the winter months, dude, and like it has to be the weather. It has to be light, and it's just cold, and it's not fun. And like I sit in my house all day. I'm like on my computer grinding work. If I wake up, sit in my computer chair, and don't go outside the whole day in winter, brutal.
It's tough.
Yeah,
it takes an impact. So well, this week hopefully we'll get out, do some outside stuff in the Philadelphia area. But it's no Hawaii. But traveling's good. Traveling's good because it opens up,
good
it gives you perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You meet different cultures, different ethnicities, different types of food. I know we were just talking before we hopped on the pod. I mean, you've been around. Traveling I would say is probably one of your hobbies. Would you say?
Yeah, sure. One thing I actually do want to mention, from President's Club, meeting these other people, I realize people, at least our personalities, we talk so fast.
True.
And like compared to everyone else, dude, they're way better at eye contact. They maintain eye contact the entire sentence. They finish it. Like I rush through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, what I'm getting at is personality wise, like Northeast, we'll call it Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
We talk way faster. We're a little bit more crude, and it's just so funny to see, like talking to guys from Nebraska. True. I'm like, I can't tell if there's something off in our conversation. I'm like, oh no, we just are at two completely different cadences, and I need to work on that.
I couldn't agree with you more. I actively, and who tells my mother when she watches some of the stuff I put out, she's just like, you're a marble mouth. You talk too fast, and stop and put your hands down. But like the hands, I don't know if I'll ever be able to figure that out.
Oh, I mumble.
But you
so much, man.
you have good. So if you're talking to someone who has good eye contact, and it's almost like I feel so uncomfortable that this is so good.
Tough,
but you're totally right. It's just a different cadence. Like they're doing it right, we're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And we need to be better.
I agree.
Yeah. So for all you Philadelphia and New York, I don't know. It's just the way I guess we were raised. I'll never forget how stressed I get when I have to go to take a train to New York, and
it's chaos.
Like I get ran over.
Yeah.
I get ran over by a little old lady in a shopping cart.
Dude,
She's
driving in Hawaii, everyone's letting everyone go. Like I'm almost causing traffic accidents because I'm like, no, you go, and they're like, no, we always let you go. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I mean, look, for those listening, if you're interested in learning more about the podcast, you want to be a next guest, we'll drop some information below. Gunnar, any closing thoughts? I don't
really have anything. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that you think anything I think of is interesting enough to talk about. So,
absolutely.
So thank you, man.
I appreciate it, Gunnar. Thanks for coming on, and catch us on the next one.
Cool.
See you, man.
See you guys.